welcome to Exposed Turnbuckle. This is the Mac Attack, Jeff McMahon, and this is Battle of the Brands. Purpose of this show is everyone does their reviews of Raw and then their reviews of Smackdown. I wanted to add a little flair to it. I wanted to do quick review of each show, and I wanted to compare the shows with the grade of each and kind of give it that competitive nature and see who won the week. And before I even get into the shows, I just want to say this was a very average week of wrestling. Last week had two pretty good shows in my opinion, and this week both of them went under the bar there. I was actually very disappointed. I found myself really just wanting to turn it off sometimes. I was yawning a few times. Obviously, there's Boston playoffs happening right now with basketball and hockey, so it made it a little tough to want to keep going with it. But I pushed through. Luckily, I have DVR for the rest of it, so I was able to watch the shows in full. We have Raw starting out. Honestly, it was very lackluster to start Raw. I thought there was very average matches, a couple decent promos. Samoa Joe and Seth Rollins, they kind of built. It's something they kind of did pretty well. Was they built the storylines for Payback, which is to be expected because they are the next pay-per-view up. Samoa Joe, I've heard better promos from him. I wasn't really all that impressed with the promo. Seth Rollins, again, I've heard better from both of them, and it was not to say it was bad, but I wasn't fully impressed. Going into the show, obviously they were really building Braun Strowman to be a monster, and again, I like that, but now he's just beating up the Golden Truth and Kalisto. Like, that's not impressive to me. Like, they're half his size. Of course he's gonna crush them. I did laugh at the garbage line. That made me laugh. And then Big Show showed up and kind of built up the main event there. And really, that was the first 2 hours. That's really all it was. Noticeable that Roman Reigns was not there. And as much as fans will want to say they hate Roman Reigns, they can't stand Roman Reigns, get him off my TV, let's face it, he was off the TV and it took away from the show. Whether you can say what you want, and they've been saying it for a while, Roman Reigns gets a reaction, and it's a very negative one, but it's a reaction, and nobody on that show all night got that kind of reaction that Roman Reigns gets night in and night out, whether positive or negative. So him not being there does take away from the show. It is what it is, and it was very noticeable. But the last hour, Raw really picked up. I was very impressed with the Fatal 4-Way. Nia Jax wasn't botching as much as she's done in the past, so it didn't take away from the match. Alexa Bliss is the new number one contender for the women's championship. So it'll be Alexa Bliss versus Bayley. I think that'll be a pretty good match. They've had matches in NXT, and both I would say are improved. So I would like to. I'm looking forward to that one. Hopefully they give Bayley a little bit better promo material leading up to that one, because Alexa Bliss definitely holds her own there. But a very good match from all four women: Mickie James, Sasha Banks, Nia Jax, and Alexa Bliss. That crowd was that Alexa Bliss probably got the biggest pop out of everyone being in her hometown. So that was a really good match. Then Cesaro and Jeff Hardy was the next match, and that was a really good match. Going with the respectful storyline between two face tag teams, which you kind of have to do with two faces. I don't think either one would turn, so I think the respectful storyline is the way to go. Hardy's likely retaining there. But it was a very good match between Hardy and Jeff Hardy and Cesaro. And then you had the main event of Braun Strowman and the Big Show, and got to give these two guys credit. When you hear those two names, it's like, oh, two big guys fighting, like whoop-de-doo. Like this is going to be a snore fest, but this is the second straight main event that they've had that I was very entertained by. And of course, it had that big moment at the end with the ring collapsing, Braun Strowman coming up, being the winner even though there was no pinfall, but he was the guy who left and Big Show was lying in the ring. But the MVP of the match is referee John Cone. What a bump he took. That was the first thing I saw when it happened, and in the replay, it was all I could focus on. Hell of a job. That was great. Overall, Raw is getting a 6.5. It was an average. I would say overall above average because it had that memorable moment and a couple other decent moments there. If it weren't for the first 2 hours, it could have went higher. But and of course, if it weren't for the last hour, it could have been a lot lower. So I mean, I'm going with the middle ground. I'm gonna say 6.5. And it the last hour really saved it. Moving on to tonight's SmackDown. I've been a SmackDown guy since the brand split. I thought they've really put on much better shows overall. Not tonight. Tonight shocked me. Honestly, that's really the best word. Charlotte came out early, asked for a title shot. She got a number one contenders match. Pretty standard stuff for later in the night. And then they went with the six-pack challenge for the WWE title number one contender, which surprised me early. Honestly, I thought that would be a main event type match since it's the WWE title. But this is showing which title they feel is the more important title, and that we can get into. But first off, not a fan of six-pack challenges. Really, it's the same formula. There's one guy in, and it's a one-on-one match. Then one guy gets knocked out of the ring, and then another guy comes in, and they exchange, and then they keep swapping back and forth. There's never really a bunch of people in the ring at one time, which honestly, it's a little boring to me. But the people in this match, just the lineup alone shows you how much Raw took away from SmackDown. Nakamura did not show up tonight. They had a video package for him, but he was not there. So I don't really know what they're doing with him. Hopefully they come up with something soon, because they need star power on that show. And going to the finish, they brought out the Bollywood Boys to interfere when it looked like Sami Zayn was going to win, and Jinder Mahal is your new number one contender. Let that sink in. Jinder Mahal is the number one contender for the WWE title a week after jobbing to Finn Balor. Jinder Mahal. This is unbelievable. Like, he is terrible. Even in this match, he missed his cue to trip up Luke Harper and get himself involved in the finish of the match. He went to trip him up early before Luke Harper could hit his move. Like, this guy isn't good. I don't understand. Nobody's gonna watch Backlash for Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal. This is so dumb. I can't get behind this at all. I can't even think I just can't think of an excuse that be like, okay, that's fine. I guess it could work this way. No, it's nothing. All I can hope for is that he loses his spot somehow in a match. It's dumb. I'm not looking forward to Backlash, that main event. Once Styles and Owens finishes, I hope that main events. I hope the WWE title goes first on that pay-per-view, because I don't care about it. That's how bad this is. We're moving on because I don't want to talk about Jinder Mahal anymore. I've spent way too much time on him already. Moving on to the next really curious decision was they had American Alpha versus the Shining Stars, and they just buried American Alpha. This is supposed to be a team you're supposed to build around. You're going to give Shining Stars the win on this one? Now Alpha's jobbing? I do not understand the booking of this show. Obviously, I disagree, but we'll see how they go from there, I guess. Then you had, and this is another part where the back half of the show kind of saved it a little bit. Charlotte Naomi was a really good match. Charlotte really sold a lot of Naomi's moves, made her look very strong. Naomi, vice versa, same thing. Naomi basically, she missed the rear view. Charlotte countered with a kick to the back and then hit the natural selection for the win, and she is now the number one contender for a title match next week against Naomi. So that should be a really good match next week. I'm looking forward to that one. And then the main event had AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin. Very good match from both of them. A lot of Baron Corbin near falls. He showed a lot of athleticism. AJ Styles just does his thing. He puts on a really good match. Baron Corbin's really coming along. I liked it. Basically, the finish had Baron Corbin throwing AJ Styles into Kevin Owens ringside. And AJ Styles hit the phenomenal form on the outside and won by countout. Oh, and I did forget to mention Kevin Owens had a U.S. Open, the face of America had a U.S. Open challenge, and some loser, nobody that pretends that he's a hometown guy, just got squashed in 10 seconds. That was all that happened, and then that led into the main event. But AJ Styles won by countout. A little surprised that Kevin Owens didn't interfere somehow, or at least attack him post match. Maybe they just want to save that till after the Jericho match. But that's how SmackDown ended. That was two good matches to close out the show, but didn't save it. Jinder Mahal really took the wind out of everyone's sails, I think, and we'll see what they do with Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys, but nobody liked the Bollywood Boys in NXT. No one liked Jinder Mahal now. No one's going to like these guys. So, I don't know. I gave it a 5. It's average, below average maybe. If it weren't for the two matches at the end, it would be a lower score. I'm never hard on SmackDown this much, but it deserves it. This was not a good show, and it wasn't a good week in general. Was not happy with the wrestling shows this week. Raw wins this week, so join me next time. I will be putting out videos, hopefully every Friday. I'll be covering the news of the week outside of the ring, so stay tuned for that. Check out Patrick's Raw review and his SmackDown review, and he is going to be putting out a video on his best of the week and worst of the week, so definitely check that out. Like this video, like those videos, subscribe for all of our videos, and share them with your friends, and leave some comments. Tell me what you think was the better show this week. Was it Raw? Was it SmackDown? What did you enjoy? What did you not enjoy? Definitely want to hear from you. I will answer all comments once we get them, and I will give you my opinion on what you say, and I'll give you my feedback. So definitely do that, and till next time, see ya.